of experimentation. 9 changes to the side which defeated the Tahitians 5-0 last week. The most significant in goals, Jason Petkovic wins his first cap under Venables. Other changes include a new strike force of Graham Arnold and Damien Murray, but watch out for the number 10, Joseph Skoko, in the centre of the park, a playmaker of real pedigree. There they are, the Socceroos lining up for the photograph. Again, a new bunch. Players having to get accustomed to each other once again for the 3rd time in 3 games in this Oceania section of the World Cup campaign. There he is, the Adelaide City goalkeeper, the goalkeeper of the year, Jason Petkovic. Well, the news for the Solomons is that they're out without their captain, Jim Qualme. He's injured, the sweeper at the back. But they have some good news. The veteran Batram Suri makes his first start of the campaign up front. Robert Seni is the player to watch. The number 12 plays wide on the right side of the midfield, and he created all of the 4 goals that the Solomons scored against Tahiti last weekend. So all in readiness now for the kick-off. It's the 3rd game of the Oceania Group 1 section for Australia, and with an 18-0 goal difference, it really is only academic in many ways what happens here, but the players, of course, as always, playing for their own positions as much as anything else. Alex Tobin and Augustine Palais, the respective captains, take the toss. The referee tonight from New Zealand, Brian Precious. And it has been a feature, in fact, of the games we've seen so far. The standard of officiating has been world class. Really have been some good performances from the referees, allowing the game to flow, not interrupting the rhythm, as the Solomons go into a huddle, and their coach, Eddie Nava, has set his team 1 goal only tonight, and that is to restrict the Socceroos. He doesn't want a repeat of that 13-0 humiliation in the first contest between these 2 teams just 6 days ago. So it's going to be the Solomons to get the game underway, and the game has real significance for one player in particular, the veteran Milan Ivanovic, the sweeper for Australia tonight. Makes his 50th appearance in the green and gold, Milan Ivanovic. What a fantastic achievement for him. He's only been in the country since 1989. He made his debut when he was 30 years of age, and he's clocked up 50 caps as of tonight. There hasn't been a more popular player in the game. Arnold now with his first touch. The overlap from Lazaridis, plenty of space, only Murray in the middle. He goes deep, and drops in behind Murray. He needs support. Ennis, all the way back now to Tobin. Lazaridis again hogging the left-hand side. Arnold brought down from behind quite clearly there. Graham Arnold by Selson Molaya, quickly taking the free kick. Ennis tries to ride the challenge. And there was Pelly, but Lazaridis wins it back for the Socceroos. And Bertie Mariani, just a word on that achievement by Milan Ivanovic, 50 caps tonight.
Certainly is, but who knows where he's going to end up. As Terry Venables said, he just keeps performing every season. Again, this year at the back of Adelaide City's defence, marshalled it well, and was one of the main factors that they were able to progress into that top 6.
Ivanovic, in fact, dispossessed there, but Ennis nips away for the Socceroos. Lazaridis wants to get past the referee. Again, the cross is deep. Arnold has come off, the header down. Who's there for Australia? Palais clears for the Solomons, but a familiar pattern developing already. All the play in the Solomons half of the pitch. Murray, watched by Rukumana, and it'll be a corner for the Socceroos. Their first of the game. Damien Murray, 5 times he found the net against the same opposition last week. A night to remember, certainly for him. There he is, Severino Aefi, a real character, the Solomons goalkeeper, under pressure already. And it comes from Lazaridis, bending towards the back post. Good jump there by Arnold. He gets the shot at the second attempt, and over the bar there from Arnold. He's very hungry for goals, Graham Arnold. He's wanting to force the issue on Venables. He wants that starting Guernsey when it matters.
Yeah, we see him climb here very well. The ball's holding up quite high, and then a snapshot as it rebounds. And as you can see, his shoulders, he's leaning back all the way there with that shot, and it was only going to go over the crossbar. But again, we see his strength in the air. We see his shoulders always falling backwards and that taking the ball over the crossbar.
Solomons with the ball now. Patram Suri is muscled out of it by Skoko. Enish now. Wide on the right is Ernie Tapai. He's been used by Venables as a sub most of all, Ernie Tapai, but he's getting a starting berth tonight. Wants to make the most of it. So a slight adjustment with Slater in midfield. Slater, of course, played a lot of his club football in England this season with Southampton as a central midfielder. Skoko, Enish. Maury. Rukamana was in there strongly and late on Enish, according to the referee. And the first card, in fact, of the game going to the Solomons defender, Eddie Rukamana. And this is the reason why.
Yeah, I think it's a justified decision. Also, in these early stages, Michael, the Solomon Islanders really coming in from behind, and it could get out of hand, and the referee doing the right thing there. He let the first one go. It was a bad tackle on Arnold early. That one there, again, from behind on Ennis, and deservedly, the referee trying to get control gives out the yellow card.
So the free kick for the Socceroos right in front of the goal. In it comes, great effort poured away by Effie, and it's in the net, is it? Bouncing around, it must be. And Tapai's shot was somehow cleared. Well, Tony Vidmar was the player who created all the problems with the free kick. And the Solomons slipped dangerously, but somehow the ball was kept out. As the Socceroos press forward once again. Lazaridis. Cross was too flat. Here's Robert Senni. Noel Berry now looking to release himself, but the ball will go all the way to Petkovic for his first touch. Well, that was a great free kick there from Tony Vidmar. Effie, the goalkeeper, only saw it late. Skoko now switching play well. Once again, Vidmar working well with Tapai. And the layoff there from Skoko was aimed towards Slater as we look at that free kick once again.
Yeah, we see Vidmar really crack this with his left foot. Effie gets to it, just punches it anywhere. But as we see here, the ball goes up. And this is the one here. Tapai has just unleashed that. And the number 2, Kaira, had no idea. That just hit him in the head.
Yes, Tony Vidmar certainly can hit them. A very unconventional save that from Effie. And there was 2 players following in, Arnold and Maury. And this is the moment, straight into the chest it was of Kaira and away to safety. But it's a corner for the Socceroos, played short. Slater now. Slater into the box, delicate chip. Hasn't been cleared properly. In comes the shot and wide of the post there from Lazaridis, who had drifted wide to the right for the corner. Okay, so a goal kick for the Solomons. And we do on the sideline tonight have Mark Bosnich, the Socceroo goalkeeper. Well, Bos, that was a rather unconventional save a few minutes ago from the Solomons keeper.
No, Mike, he's entertainment plus, the Solomon Islands goalkeeper. I thought he was great the other night, and it was a difficult save, actually, because the ball did move quite a lot in the air. And he got up well and smothered the next shot as well. But we haven't got the best of views because the cameraman's a little bit in our way, so I didn't see the result of the scramble. But he done well in the original save.
And here's Maury now, Rukamani closely watching him. No one at the back post for the Socceroos. Here's Skoko making the ground. Good effort by him. Lazaridis. Again, Stan Lazaridis drifting wide. Skoko aiming towards the back stick. Can Tapai get there? No, he can't, despite his best efforts. So a slower start, perhaps, for the Socceroos tonight. Bertie Mariani, they'd scored already twice by this stage of the game last week. Solomons will be pleased that they've kept their line intact.
Yes, and as we've seen, there's plenty of action. It's just the luck of the way the ball has bounced. I mean, twice it could have had goals, but that's the difference a goal can make such at an early stage. But the other factor that we've seen here tonight is that we do have plenty of attacking flair down the flanks in this game, with both Lazaridis, Tapai and Slater exploiting those wide flanks. But to this date, the crosses haven't been tuned in as well as I'd say Arnold and Murray would like. They're still quite high and deep without that bend in behind the defence.
Ivanovic there with the clearance. Jumping well was Berry. Here he is again. But the Socceroos retain possession. Patient in their build-up. Here's Ennis. Skoko has stayed further forward. He gets the run from Tapai. Good build-up this by Australia. Murray wants it towards the edge of the 6-yard box. He gets it. The knockdown's a good one. Arnold trying to turn on the shot. And it breaks for Lazaridis. Bending it deep. Arnold may get there again. And Arnold unable to control it, but does keep the ball in play. Slater now. Ennis lines up the shot, and it whistles past the upright. Watched all the way by Ayefi. As we look at the Solomons bench, Robbie Ennis there with the half volley.
Yeah, we see him collected on the edge of the box. Geez, he had plenty of time there, and just past that far post. We see the ball laid in originally, headed out, and Robbie Ennis plenty of space and time on the edge of the box. Probably too much time. He had to wait so long, and in the end, should have done a little bit better with that. It went by that far post by at least 2 metres.
Here's Rukumana. Ennis in behind Seni. Solomon still have the ball though. Slater harassing them. Here's Bulka. Better stuff this by the Solomons. Pelly, the captain, turning away, getting some applause from the crowd. And a lovely touch there by Seni as Pelly tries to get past Ivanovic. Not too many players are able to do that, but he's made a mistake, Milan Ivanovic. The Solomons looking for an opening. An important touch that was by Tapai. And Australia come away with the ball. Skoko now. Slater. He has Murray to his right. Arnold is unmarked at the back post, but they've funneled back now the green shirts. Here it comes. Arnold with the knockdown. And away by the Solomons. Ivanovic now with the ball. Well, Mark Bosnich, we just saw a moment or two ago. We can't be too cocky, the Australians. That quick break by the Solomons.
No, there was a lovely touch. It was right in front of us by the Solomon. I think it was first of all by the captain, and played a lovely 1-2. And we've got to be careful. We've got to keep on our guard because we don't want to concede any goals. It can become a little bit embarrassing. We concede goals this early in the game, and then the longer it goes, and people start to get a little bit worried. So we've got to be on our guard. And I just want to see the two wide men, Stan Lazaridis and Ernie Tapai, get a little bit more forward and start to whip the balls a little bit more to the near post. I think they just start to float a little bit too high.
Well, Mark Bosnich went to the Bertie Mariani School of Coaching, obviously. Here's Slater now. Tony Vidmar wants to return, lines up the shot, and never a threat to the Solomons goal. That effort from Tony Vidmar, who will join the Rangers club in Scotland, Scotland's biggest club, for the start of next season. He's played the last 2 seasons with Nuck Breda in Holland. Done well enough to earn a move to the Scottish champions. But I'm sure he'll find the job of cementing a first-team spot very hard at Ibrox. They do have an amazing array of talent at their disposal. Here's Ennis now. Arnold. Good ball. Tapai. Better cross this one to the back post. Lazaridis with the knockdown. The green shirts are there as well. Slater again. Slater feels he was checked. The referee not interested. And Damien Murray has drawn a blank so far. I'm sure the Solomons will have learned the lessons from last week. It was Murray's power and pace which really unsettled them early. Pelly. And he was fouled by Skoko, according to the referee. So almost 15 minutes gone and no score here in the World Cup qualifier between Australia and the Solomons. So it seems the Solomons on target to reduce the scoreline. 13-0 of course last week. Eddie Nava, their coach, making it clear he doesn't want a repeat of that this evening.
No, Michael, I think the game on the weekend against the Tahitians would have done their confidence good. As we saw, the Tahitians were quite strong in that second game against the Australians, very organised. And however, the Solomons were able to capitalise against the Tahitians and came away with a win.
Well, here's 4 against 3 all of a sudden. The Solomons again on the break. Australia have to get back quickly. Here's Robert Seni, good skills, down onto his left foot. Trying to find an angle for the shot. Sliding in was Tobin, an important tackle it was too. So another warning sign for the Socceroos not to get caught in possession, particularly in their own half, Mark Bosnich.
No, I mean, that was a lot of danger, actually. There was 4 against 3, and if they played the ball out wider earlier, they did have a man over on the near side. And it's another little warning there to Australia that they've got to be on their game. I'm getting cut off here, boys, but there's another little warning here to Australia that they've got to be on their game if they want to have a convincing victory.
Lazaridis to the byline, into the near post. Murray with the touch. Will it break for Skoko? The rebound off Slater, and it's in the net. His first goal for the Socceroos. That's the reason for the smile. Off his back. Well, he's copped plenty of stick, Robbie Slater. 20 caps, no goals. What a way to break your duck. He can hardly believe it. And Australia take the lead after 15 minutes. Slater is the man on target. And it all came from a break down the left by Lazaridis.
Again, Maury, just to touch on here, the Solomon Islanders not able to get rid of the ball. There it is. It's pounded into the back of Robbie Slater. And how desperate is he? If he's going to claim that as a goal, he definitely hasn't taken a goal prior.
Well, it's in the back of the net. That's what counts. Slater is going to be credited with the goal. And he's all smiles now. Australia come forward again. Tapai, Murray, blocked well there. Pelly now on the edge of the box for the Solomons. But Tapai's won the ball back and brought down, was he? That was very, very close indeed to the penalty area. Free kick's been taken quickly. Skoko now. And hacked away just about anywhere there by Molea. Oh, Mark Bosnich, I know you've been giving Robbie Slater a bit of stick this week after your goal last week. Well, he's replied. Yes, he has. Poor Robbie's taken a mountain of stick this week. The running joke has been... Well, Arnie must score here. He does. I've just interrupted there. And Graham Arnold now extends the lead for the Socceroos. A simple finish, really, in the end. So after weathering some pressure from the Solomons early, Australia now into their stride.
Yeah, we see it start down. Ernie Tapai again, instrumental. Good 1-2 played with Maureen. Just an easy pass right in behind the defence. In that no man's land, Ayefi caught in 2 minds, and Arnold at the back post. Again, we see good play by Tapai. His contribution down that flank. See how he lays and runs, always in, always mobile, and just a really simple ball to that far post. And from there, Arnie couldn't miss. So Graham Arnold, 2 goals now in consecutive games for the Socceroos. There's the story. 2 goals within the space of a couple of minutes. Slater and Arnold, the old tag team, in action.
And Slater moves forward once again. Good recovery that by the Solomons. Here's Seni skipping past Lazaridis, who was in late according to the referee. He's got some nice touches, this wide midfielder for the Solomons, Robert Seni. Free kick now will be taken by Sikale Buga. Switch there by Molaya. It's been intercepted though. Rukamana has to get back in a hurry. Clever play by him to win the throw. But only Tapai has really surprised a lot of critics with his form for the national team this year. He was more of a bit player than anything else under Eddie Thompson, but he really has mounted a convincing argument to Terry Venables, not only in the last week but also in the Optus World Tournament in January.
Yeah, but I guess on the other side of the coin, Michael, is at that time Ernie Tapai had a fairly disruptive life. He'd been back over to Europe and back again, really unsettled, and his overall performances probably didn't warrant any more than a passing selection. However, his potential, his natural ability, his speed and skill, he's always had. And I guess it's just a matter that this season he's been a lot more focused. Early on in the season with Collingwood, he was instrumental. And I dare say, given the opportunity, and he realises his opportunity in these games, he's going to take it with both hands.
Lazaridis easily to the byline. The cutback eludes all the Australian players. Wabo now working with Suri. Patram Suri tracked by Enish. He gets a foot in there, but he was in from behind according to the referee. So a free kick to the Solomons.
Yeah, these games are very important for Robbie Ennis. He's been playing in the midfield, the middle of the midfield, which is a bit strange for his club side, Sydney United. He ended up playing in the sweeper position for the majority of the season. And it will take him a little bit of while to settle in and get his feelings in the midfield. And as we've seen, he's been a little bit late in a number of tackles, and I guess that's just a timing aspect when there's so much pressure in the middle of the park.
Here's Vidmar now. And a rare touch for Petkovic. 20 minutes have elapsed. Australia leading the Solomons by 2-0. Arnold and Slater, the players on the mark. Robbie Slater, his first goal for the national team. And as you were saying a while ago, Mark Bosnich, that'll be some relief to him.
Well, the shout down here on the benches, we don't know if we're going to award it to him just yet, because apparently the circumstances surrounding the goal does not work in too favourably for him. So we might have to keep him in wait a little bit before we officially celebrate his first goal for Australia.
Well, it'll be a tough man that'll take that goal away from Robbie Slater. As the Socceroos win a corner, Lazaridis goes across. The in-swinger it'll be towards the near post. Maury's position there. Up goes Tobin as well. Tony Vidmar waiting at the back post. Arnold about to time his run. Goes short instead to Slater to vary the point of the cross. Looking for Arnold. He jumps well. Clearance is a good one by the Solomons. The up and under now. Tobin with the jump. Enish over the top. And the Solomons clear the ball over the halfway line. Rukumana. Pally. Seni drifts wide to the right. The run hasn't been picked up, but the pass misdirected there by Augustin Pally. Skoko. Ennis controlling traffic in the middle of the park. Robbie Ennis, of course, soon to join English First Division club Portsmouth. And it's up by, again, busy in the middle of the park. Maury with the layoff for Slater. Byline blocked by Rukamana. He has to go to his left foot instead. Slater, it was a good dipping cross in the end. No one attacking the ball though for the Socceroos. And Pelly's ball forward. It's cleaned up well by Tobin. Tapai. Arnold. Ball in behind Tony Vidmar. Here's Slater now into the feet of Tapai, who turns well. Rukamana gets a boot in there. Pelly with the clearance. Interesting the way Slater and Tapai interchange there between the right wing back roll and the centre of the park.
Yeah, both are accustomed to either defensive attacking roles, and in this case both very experienced players and very quick, so the interchange there would be a natural progression, and it's good to see down that flank.
Well, the Socceroos have now been unbeaten in 11 games. The last time Australia lost was against South Africa in Johannesburg last August, and that's by far the best record for the national team. 3 coaches, of course, over the course of those 11 games. Eddie Thompson, Roel Blanco, and now Terry Venables. But it's not just the results that have got people talking about this team. It's the way that the team is now playing under Venables, a very attacking style of football, Mark Bosnich.
Yeah, well, Terry's system is pretty much based on the Ajax style, which we saw them have such great success in Europe over the last 4 or 5 years. And if you actually look at it, besides the 3 men at the back, the rest of the players are all attacking players. And it gives us so many options going forward. And also when things aren't going so well, because the system always provides that there will be chances made because of the width and the depth that the wide men are allowed to have.
Certainly the players flourishing under this attacking style. Cam Arnold, Damien Murray enjoying the opportunity to score goals. Here's Skoko now. Lazaridis wide to the left once again. Should take on his man, bends the cross instead. Arnold's up strongly, and he got under the cross there, Graham Arnold. He'll be disappointed with that. Very strong player in there. You can see him admonishing himself there. That was a great opportunity for a player of Arnold's calibre.
Yes, and again, Lazaridis getting that cross in. As we saw, he climbed very high, got up well. Lazaridis got plenty of time. This time he's looked up, probably again given a little bit too much effort. Arnold, watch him climb here, and just got up probably a fraction too early. That ball varying a little bit, and he really had to reach out, and in the end getting under the ball and putting it over the crossbar.
Socceroos doing it comfortably against the Solomons. A win tonight, of course, will make it mathematically impossible for Australia to be overhauled in this Group 1 of the Oceania qualifying section. You'd have to have been a supreme optimist, of course, to suggest anything else. But I'm sure the players in Terry Venables want a 100% record going into the playoff, probably against the All Whites of New Zealand. Skoko sliding in there, and a handball against Joseph Skoko. Sikali Booger was the Solomons defender making the tackle.
Yeah, we see him take on here, trying to get that little bit of space. Ultimately, a difficult one there. He's fallen on it, his head looking away, with the referee right in line and deciding to give the free kick for the handball.
Free kick taken by Effie, wasted really just straight over the touchline, just inside the Australian half. Vidmar makes the move down the right side. Well chipped forward by Tapai. Vidmar has the space now. Is the cross a good one? The touch on from the Solomons player, left by Arnold. And the recovery was good enough from Robert Senni. And he plays it up the line. The Solomons have the ball now with time on their side. Here's Booger. And Skoko doing well there to get back behind the ball. But they've strung a few more passes together tonight, the Solomons. Coach Eddie Nava there will be, I'm sure, satisfied with their start to this match. Berry. Sliding in with Slater, a fair tackle. And Ivanovic now in his own area. His 50th cap tonight, Milan Ivanovic. Just 9 other players in history have made it past the half century. including another player in the park tonight, Alex Tobin. Skoko, ball left a little bit short of Lazaridis, who collects it nonetheless. Maury. Arnold now looking for the crumbs. Breaks instead for Slater. Tapai. Low flat cross. It'll break for Lazaridis. He might try his luck here. He does. And Stan Lazaridis slicing the shot there. Not a renowned goal scorer. He has yet to open his account for the national team. And he's disappointed with himself there. A shake of the head from Lazaridis. He did have time to measure this shot.
Yeah, Ernie Tapai getting again the cross in. He had plenty of time here. There was the opportunity at the far post, but again, plenty of opportunity to strike at that near post, and he just got under it. With the goalkeeper, if it had been on direction at that near post a little bit more accurately, would have threatened the keeper's goal.
Here's Pali. Seni now. There's Booger wide to the right. Good ball played into the feet of Booger. And hit towards the back post. Petkovic under the high ball. Always confident. And a good early throw by Petkovic, releasing Skoko. First time, though, that the Solomons have been in that Australian penalty area. Here's Maury. Lazaridis once again. Call from Arnold at the back post. It drifts wider instead to Tapai. And the rather agricultural clearance there from Pali. Australia win the ball back. Tipped forward by Enish. Booger there with a wild attempt to clear the ball. Rather fortunate he didn't direct it towards his own goal. Sikale Booger. So another corner for the Socceroos. First corner that Australia have had from this near touchline. Ayefi, the goalkeeper, organising his troops. Two players at the post. Here's Slater. The corner's been played short to the edge of the box. Enish. Ivanovic now under the high ball for the Socceroos. And a mistake again by Ivanovic. Batram Suri collects for the Solomons. Here he is again with the return. Had a stuff this by the Solomons. Wabo it is, turning onto his right foot, chipping it to the back post, and again Petkovic under some pressure. And the crowd applauding that move by the Solomons. Half an hour gone though, it's still the Socceroos with a 2-goal cushion. And here they come looking for their third. Skoko. And the ball coming off Peli. Ayefi out quickly off his line.
But apart from the error by Milan creating it, they took the ball from there and played quite some good football out, being very patient, getting it into the wide position, and Wabo down that left-hand flank really setting himself up, and unfortunately the cross just coming that fraction too late and one of the players running into an offside position. But give them their dues, they're technically on the ball, they're quite sound when given the opportunity.
Here's Pele. Looking to play it to the right and draws the foul from Slater. Well, Mark Bosnich, I guess it is hard for players to stay focused when they've been winning by such convincing scorelines.
Not necessarily, Mike, because we are playing for places, and everybody knows that, and everybody's aware of that. So it shouldn't really be a problem. It's a World Cup qualifier, and motivation shouldn't be a problem. But you got to say full credit to the Solomons, because after the first result, it would have been so easy for their heads to drop and for them to virtually give up. But they've come out and showed some great touches and are causing us a few little problems, especially down these two flanks. And the boys have to concentrate.
Sure, that will be the message from Terry Venables on that Australian bench, particularly at the back. A couple of uncharacteristic errors there from Ivanovic. Skoko. The interception was made by Booger. Here's Seni. Lazaridis, 1 against 2, gets the foot in, and it's going to be a free kick to the Solomons. Very little emotion there on the face of Terry Venables. He really does have a wonderful record with the Socceroos. 7 games, 7 wins up to this point. And the national team's only conceded 2 goals under his command and scored 26. Sort of coaching record you'd appreciate, Bertie Mariani.
The wins, 5 wins, yes, definitely, Michael. I mean, the wins are important, but also the style, as you said earlier, the style of football that they're playing, and the opposition has been, we can take these Oceania qualifiers with a little grain of salt, but ultimately we've got to remember that the games prior to this, they've played some reasonable opposition and they've got the results against them. So the style of play, and that's what we're seeing here, the creation of, I guess, a brand new style of Australian play, the attacking flankman, and it's good to see.
Great tackle there by Rukamana to dispossess Tapai. It was an important one as well. Right, Australia have won the ball back. Enish doing the hard yards in the middle. Here's Slater now. Lazaridis with space on the left. Seni comes across to close down the options. Lazaridis, though, gets to the byline with some ease. Here's Slater, beavering away in the midfield. Lazaridis once again, Skoko. Feels the handball against Booger. Referee unmoved. Buttram Suri with the ball inside. Noel Berry. And Pelly battling away with Tapai. And he draws the foul again. So the Solomons not giving up the fight by any means. And I'm sure that in many ways Terry Venables will actually appreciate a contest more than a walkover at this stage of the World Cup campaign.
Yeah, he'd like some resistance so the players can adapt and see how they perform under a little bit of stress. And it is important, as we've seen. I mean, they're trying hard. The Solomons are dropping back with sometimes 6 or 7 players taking all the space, and it's very difficult when you're, say, Lazaridis, Stan Lazaridis, or on the other flank, Robbie Slater, when you're faced with all the space gone, and it's putting a lot of pressure on them. But it's an area that needs development, as you said, Michael, because then it requires the players to be a lot more mobile and not just get by with simple kick and run.
Well, good refereeing there. Brian Precious played the advantage for the foul by Rukamana on Arnold. And gave a free kick to the Socceroos. It's been wasted, though. Here is Rukamana there with the up and under. And perhaps a word said there by one of the Solomons players. It's Pelé, in fact, who may have said something to the referee. He is unimpressed. Augustine Pelé, the captain of the Solomons tonight, in the absence of Kwaume, their regular skipper. Here's Enish now. And given away there by Ivanovic. Here's Pelé, doing well. Has no support, though. Gets out of a tight situation. Booger plays it over the top. Then gets the touch on. Berry there, almost helping it further forward. An important challenge that was from Tobin. Here's Maury now for the Socceroos. Played off Sikale Booger. He hasn't had a sniff tonight, Damien Maury. 5 goals against the Solomons last week. Hasn't really had an opportunity tonight. And it comes from Lazaridis. Good ball. Solomons again getting the players back in numbers. Suri chips it forward. Berry with the knockdown. Here's Tony Vidmar. Well, although there has been a number of selection changes made by Terry Venables over the past 3 games, there really is a strong thread in this team tonight of Adelaide City players. When you look across that Socceroo side, you can see Tobin, Ivanovic, Petkovic, Tony Vidmar, Damien Maury, Ernie Tapai, all teammates at one time or other with Adelaide City. That really is a remarkable achievement for one club to provide so many internationals. and perhaps a tribute to the coaching of Zoran Medic.
Certainly is at any time when you had that number of players from one particular club, but it was a time when Adelaide City were at the forefront of the local competition, and Zoran Medic was in charge for a long period of time, and a number of those players have come through a very good system on and off the park. The development system at Adelaide City is quite renowned also for developing its young players.
Another corner for the Socceroos. Slater wants to play it short. He'll go long instead. Maury jumps off a Solomons player and it's in the back of the net, so an own goal helps Australia go further in front. And it may have been Noel Berry there who put it in his own net. We'll just have to check on the number as the corner comes in from Slater.
Yeah, a good corner, dipping and sliding, bending in, and in the end, it got a touch on at that near post, and the defender didn't know much about it. We see it struck here, kept quite low, comes through, and yes, he had no idea. It's just hit him into the head. Really had virtually no indication of that as it's come through.
So Australia go further in front, rather fortunately. Here's Maury now for the Socceroos. .38 minutes gone. Australia looking comfortable, although the Solomons have created a couple of anxious moments. Certainly the Solomons providing much tougher resistance than they did last week. Sliding in strongly. Enish releasing Tapai, who's into the box. Could have gone down, tries to get the cross in instead. And another corner to Australia. Well, some players may have gone down in that situation. Ernie Tapai, to his credit, kept his feet. Tried to get the cross in. So another corner for the Socceroos. Again played short. In it comes from Lazaridis. AFE bouncing around like a ping pong ball. Eventually he claims it. Severino Efe, he really is an unorthodox goalkeeper.
Yeah, coming from the short corner here, but Lazaridis decides to unleash one, and the keeper obstructed here, does a great save initially, and then really courageously just thrusts himself at the ball. And maybe again we see a little bit of character. He's never one to pull out. We see a little bit of a retaliation there, but quite a character in goal, AFE.
There's Seni now. And sliding in with Skoko. The ball did come off Seni. 40 minutes gone. And it's the Socceroos 3, the Solomons 0. Group 1 of the Oceania World Cup qualifying campaign. Here's Batram Suri. Ivanovic with the foot in. Pali has managed to get past Tapai, and it's Batram Suri in to the edge of the box, chipping it towards the back post. And unfortunately for the Solomons, that ball drifting over the line as the Solomons again got players forward on the counter. Well, we still have no identity on that own goal scorer for the Solomons as yet. Some thought it might have been Noel Berry. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Lazaridis. Ennis. Slater screaming for the ball wide right. Here's Tapai. Deep cross. Maury is under it for the Socceroos. And good play there by Bulga. It's 2 against 1. He drew the foul. Well, rather barren evening so far for Damien Maury. Hasn't had a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, the understanding and the cohesion between Maury and Arnold at the moment probably lacking a little bit of understanding, and which is understandable. The two haven't played together, and these are how important these games are for players to play with each other and have a look at how they play, where they run, when they run, what they do at different times. And very crucial parts of these Oceania qualifications is exactly that, allowing the players to get to know each other and develop an understanding on the park. When they're under pressure later on in the more tougher games, it becomes automatic.
Slater with the corner. Lazaridis again going short. In it comes over the head there of Tobin. Slater will get a second bite. This time with the left foot. Lazaridis now. Slater stayed forward. Wants to take on Pelly. Skoko lines up the shot. Joseph Skoko and Ayefi there down to his right, making the save. The ball was going past anyway, as Ayefi just realised.
But again, we see Slater picking up the ball, laying to Skoko, and had plenty of time. He's hit the ball, not as well as he would have liked, and again, not as accurately as he liked. And Ayefi, however, just sliding across the goal, taking the ball. And as we see here, every opportunity he can to play with. Loves the game.
Here's Arnold. Slater. Vidmar now releasing himself. Cuts inside. Gets past one. Tony Vidmar now finds Tapai. Danny Wabo doing well for the Solomons. Slater recovers for Australia. Manages to keep the ball in play and is fouled in the process. The advantage played by the referee. Here's Lazaridis.
Hold it, Benny, hold it, Benny, hold it. Hold it, Robert. Hold it.
Skoko. Arnold. Wide left is Lazaridis. Queuing up in the middle for the Socceroos. If the ball can come in from Lazaridis, it does. But again, it drops for the green shirts of the Solomons. And they break now through Senni. Almost playing in Noel Berry there. As Brian Precious has a word, and it's for the Solomons player. It was perhaps for that late tackle on Robbie Slater a minute or two ago. He's got a good memory, the referee. Almost a couple of minutes have elapsed since the incident, and the Solomons players not sure what that's all about, but it's Danny Wabo who has been cautioned by the referee, much to his disgust. So the second card of the game, both of them to Solomons players. Here's Senni. In the middle is Batram Suri. And Berry drifted near. And in fact has won the corner. So the Solomons, their first corner of the game. Almost on the stroke of half time. The Australians with some defending to do. Jason Petkovic, the goalkeeper, organising his defence. And the Solomons want to play it short. Berry and Pelly. Pelly with the corner, but Jason Petkovic watching the ball all the way, and a good early throw for Tapai. But there is the half-time whistle from Brian Precious, so a much more convincing effort this by the Solomons, making life difficult for the Socceroos. They've had their opportunities, Australia, but they've squandered a couple. The last pass has been Australia on a couple of other occasions, and to their credit, the Solomons have got players behind the ball to frustrate the Socceroos. Robbie Slater, though, will be delighted that he finally gets off the mark for the national team. his 21st cap tonight. His first goal opened the scoring after 15 minutes. A couple of minutes later, Graham Arnold was on the mark, and there was an own goal towards the end of the half following a corner from the right. So the halftime score here at the Parramatta Stadium is Australia 3, the Solomons 0. We'll be back with the highlights and discussion after this short message.
International soccer is live on Sports Australia. The World Youth Championship is the springboard for the superstars of tomorrow, played out on an international stage featuring the best from around the world. The Australian youth side is a force to be reckoned with. They'll throw...
It certainly is classified as a derby, and it's a great one you're all looking forward to.
Most definitely. No matter how New Zealand are playing, no matter what the results have been, when they play against Australia, their game goes up by 200% at least. And I've also seen they've picked up on their initial result. They lost to Papua New Guinea, and they are going to be very, very difficult to beat.
Specific game plan tonight, or players just given the rein to go forward and express themselves?
No, since Terry's taken over, we've worked on a specific system of play which he incorporated with England last year in Euro 96, as everyone saw. And it's a very peculiar system of play. It's very similar to Ajax, like I've said, down on the bench, and we are starting to get to know it much better than we did, say, probably 6 months ago when we first met up in London. But hopefully now, coming out to New Zealand games, we're going to start to look to really play it to how it should be played.
Is he a perfectionist, Mark, in what he asks from the players?
He's very demanding. Perfect. Nobody's perfect, but he is very demanding. He asks certain things. The most important thing from any team is their desire and the fact that they try 100%. Anything else can always go wrong.
All right, Mark, thanks for your comments, and we look forward to them during the second half of this match between Australia and Solomon Islands. Let's return now to our match commentator, Michael Cockrell.
Thank you very much, Robert Wheatley. The halftime score, of course, as we know, here at the Parramatta Stadium, 3-0 to the Socceroos. Solomons with a very courageous effort in that first half to restrict the Australians in front of goal. But the players that did manage to find the mark, Graham Arnold and Robbie Slater, and an own goal to the Solomons defender, Jimmy Kayeria. So that's the situation as referee Brian Precious from New Zealand prepares to get the second half underway. A chilly winter's evening here in Sydney. Temperature around the 8 or 9 degree mark. The pitch in excellent condition. And the conditions, though, certainly favouring the Australians more than the Solomons, who are used to much warmer climates. 45 minutes now between Australia and their third consecutive victory in Group 1 of the Oceania qualifying section. And the win tonight confirming their passage to the playoff, the regional playoff, most likely against New Zealand. Here's Slater now, the goal scorer, hogging the right touchline. In the channel is Tapai. Slater again shapes for the cross, goes square instead. Enish has Vidmar to his right. Ball coming off Bakram Suri. Slater. Looking for Arnold, played in short. Seni, though, gifts it back to the Socceroos. Here's Lazaridis. Striding out, Stan Lazaridis lays it off square to Arnold. Skoko. Lazaridis again tracked by Booger, gets to the byline. Good cross in to the near post. Mori had eyes on the ball, but so did Ayefi. And the Solomons goalkeeper positioned well. Lazaridis, though, again creating problems with those lovely crosses of him whipped in towards the near post.
Yeah, we see this is the type of crosses we need to get, but he's under pressure. He's really had to push himself, bends it in, and the keeper did very well coming out there under pressure from Mori at that far near post.
Tapai. Already you can see a greater sense of urgency among the Australian players. That's Terry Venables with a few strong words to say at half-time. Enish. Again, making the space well for Lazaridis. Ball coming off Bulgar, and in the net from Tapai. A simple finish in the end, Ernie Tapai. And it's all smiles for the number 2. That's his 4th goal in the green and gold, and Effie knew little about it. And again, as we spoke a moment or two ago, the danger coming down that left flank. Ernie Tapai prospering from another cross this time. A deflection helping it towards the middle of the goal.
Yeah, but again, we see the mobility. Tapai has been constantly coming in there. He comes up and ghosts in from that far post. Lazaridis getting the cross in, the defender just getting the touch in. That really threw away Effie here. He's come to the near post and could only watch as Tapai came in on that ball and hammered that into the back of the net with his head.
Perfect start to the second half, Mark Bosnich.
Yeah, the majority of goals in our game in soccer come from crosses, and that's quality crosses. And every goal tonight has come from a cross. They were a little bit fortunate that got deflected, but if you get people in good wide positions and they put balls into the box, things will happen, and that's what's happened tonight.
So Ernie Tapai with his 2nd goal in these World Cup qualifiers, his 4th overall for the national team. Ernie Tapai winning his 28th cap tonight. Just signed last week for the Perth Glory Club, a 2-year contract. So his future at club level sorted out. And that's probably a good move for him as well, Bertie Mariani. Perth club really going places.
Certainly, as we saw this year, their inaugural season in the National League, the Ericsson Cup, and they did exceptionally well. Gary Morocchi on the park, Nick Tanner with the full administration off the park, and a good move for Ernie Tapai. I think he started out very well with Collingwood. Unfortunately, troubles within the club undermined the whole performance of the side, but I think a very good buy for the Perth side.
Well, Lazaridis again winning a corner for the Socceroos. Bulgar has really had his hands full with Lazaridis tonight. It's been a good battle, although Lazaridis has certainly had the better of it. Bulgar by no means embarrassed. Slater now with the shot, driving it into the near post. Ayefi is getting his body behind the ball. Robbie Slater looking for his 2nd goal. It's taken so long to arrive. His first one came in the 15th minute tonight. Tapai skipping past Rukumana. Tony Vidmar hassled off the ball by Berry. Here's Ivanovic.
Don't worry,
Patient build-up this by the Socceroos. Here's Skoko feeding it again to Lazaridis, who really is the danger man. In it comes again over the head of Arnold, and Tapai was there for the volley, but it never had the power to threaten Ayefi. As we look at this shot earlier from Slater, driving it at the near post. Ayefi really doesn't make a habit of holding the ball. He just palms it down, really.
You'd have to say his positioning has been impeccable, Michael. A number of times he just stands at that near post, which is one of the most basic aspects of a goalkeeper, which has been lost in the modern game. A lot of them tend to spread themselves or fall, but as we've seen, he simply positions himself quite well at the near post, and his stout body really makes it difficult to put in at any angle.
Skoko. Again, Lazaridis strides down that left side. 50 minutes gone. Australia 4-0. Lazaridis looking to put it on a plate for Graham Arnold. Rukumana was in there for the Solomons. Yet another corner. As we look at that Solomons bench, the skipper, Wyoming there, injured for tonight's match. Slater. Deep towards Arnold, heading it down. Graham Arnold gets the return. Whips it in, and Tapai is there again. Easy pickings again for Ernie Tapai. 2 goals tonight for the number 2. And he made the ground. Ayefi beaten all ends up at his near post. Arnold was the provider. And the Australians now starting to stretch their legs.
Yeah, we see from here the ball again stretching the defence from one side to the other. Arnold does very well here, heading the ball back, but his recovery chases the ball, And this is a quality cross. He gets his head up, he sees Tapai move, and he bends that in perfectly in front of the keeper. Dangerous area. The goalkeeper couldn't do anything. Tapai running straight onto that and hammering it into the back of the net.
And that's a good finish there by Tapai as well, who really is staking a very strong claim indeed for a starting berth in this World Cup side. Probably at the peak of his career, Ernie Tapai. Settled at club level now and really delivering exactly what Terry Venables is after. Pace, work rate, and adding some goals to his repertoire as well. Free kick to the Solomons, chipped in by Pelly. Away there by Tapai. Here's Slater now. Ivanovic. Skoko. And there is a poor ball by Tony Vidmar. Here's Seni now. Pass one. Through the middle now is Buttram Suri against the keeper. And he took too long, Buttram Suri. Vidmar recovered well. And Eddie Nava can't believe it. That was a great opportunity. Buttram Suri knows it all too well.
Yeah, Vidmar making the mistake here, but look at his recovery. A great tackle in the box under pressure there, but ultimately his wild switch created this opportunity for the Solomon Islanders, and they came quite well. As you said, Michael, probably took the extra touch, but here you see Vidmar just in time getting that ball away for a corner.
Yes, Buttram Suri, the most experienced player in the Solomon side, plays his club football in the New Zealand National League with the Nelson Suburbs Club. Should have done better there, really. Just took too long. Vidmar recovering well. Handball there, quite obviously, against Berry. Well, the Solomons have done a lot better tonight. They would dearly have loved that chance to have been converted. Murray onto his right foot. Slater lines up the shot and off the crossbar there from Slater. It dipped at the last moment. A shake of the head from Robbie Slater. That was a good attempt. Beat the goalkeeper, all ends up. Unfortunately for Slater, off the woodwork.
Good providing by Murray here, but we see Slater just hitting the ball, catching a bit of the ground, but in so doing, as it seems, hits the ball off centre, and it didn't dip right at the end, just hitting onto the crossbar.
Not too dissimilar, Mark Bosnich, to the shot he tried against Aston Villa for Southampton in the last game of the Premier League season.
No, I don't know if the viewers at home actually saw that shot, but it was very similar. Actually, it's quite amazing because Robbie's always been a fantastic goal scorer, even for club especially. And I remember him at Sydney Croatia used to knock them in quite regularly. And it's quite amazing that his goal scoring record for his country hasn't matched that where else he's been. But just a little thing on that last goal from Graham Arnold, just show why he's so important to Australia with a fantastic cross. So as the lights just go out here, I'll cross back to you, Mike.
Well, the lights have failed here at the Parramatta Stadium. The players will have to go off while it's sorted out.
I think this happened again. This happened before, Mike, didn't it, against Argentina?
Yes, it did. They went even darker on that occasion. Brian Precious there, the referee, with a smile. And he consults with the fourth official. There will be a hold-up in the play. Not all the lights have gone out, but certainly need to be repaired. Terry Venables there now consulting with the officials.
Well, it's all happening here at the Parramatta Stadium.
It certainly is. But the rule's quite explicit, Bertie Mariani. You have to have a break.
Yes, I mean, you can't participate. Although there is quite a reasonable cover of light to down at ground level, as we've seen, Michael, from a perspective from the camera, we can see there quite a beautiful picture. You're saying, well, why can't they play? In fact, the cameras are magnified and the intensity of the light there is magnified. Down at ground level, it would be quite dark and very dangerous to participate. So the referee doing the right thing, and I guess it's just a matter of finding which fuse or which switch has gone. I don't think there's any question about Parramatta Stadium not paying their bills.
Actually, boys, can you answer me a question? I think the viewers at home would also probably like to answer this question. If the match cannot continue because the lights can't come back on, will it be a result to Australia, or will the game have to be replayed?
Well, you really put us on the spot there, Bozza. I think as it's past half-time, they might have to just replay the remaining period of the match, perhaps. That's one theory.
I don't know if it's down to an exact rule, Bozza, but I think what it would be up to the commissioners to decide after the game whether it would be worthwhile, whether it would be an abandoned match, the score would stand, or in fact whether they would have to play out the rest of the game. As we see here, Gary Power, the refereeing coach, the commissioner, Dr.
Sahu Khan from Fiji there,
all discussing what the actual outcome is. So maybe you're closer to the action, Bozza, and you might be able to tell us.
Well, the only thing that I know that's for certain is that Graham Arnold and Robbie Slater are very worried, because if it goes on for much longer, if they go back, they're worried their bodies might break down completely.
It is cold, and certainly those hammies tighten up in this sort of condition. Well, we've just heard that, in fact, the officials are asking the captains if they would consider playing on if they believe there is enough light. And some consultations going on now.
It's a little bit like the cricket.
So we've now had 4 minutes since the lights, or part of the lights, went off. There is the FIFA match commissioner, Dr. Sahu Khan from Fiji. Gary Power, the National Referees Director, on the left of your screen.
Raul Blanco's coming on. He looks like he wants to join the action as well.
Raul Blanco, in fact, giving a ball to the players so they can keep warm. Sensible precaution there from Raul Blanco. Not happy with the delay. There's not much the players can do about it, though. Graham Arnold there having a word to Terry Venables. Probably dusted off the rule book now.
He's dusting down himself. He's a bit worried that if it starts up too quickly, that he might injure himself.
Graham Arnold has gone into these qualifiers with an Achilles problem. It's been nagging him for 6 months, and I know he's had plenty of attention. He's been to see a podiatrist to get an insert into his boot. So the hard grounds of Japan, where of course he plays now for San Frecce, haven't helped. But I guess when you're 33 and you've got some sort of problem, you don't want to stiffen up.
No, and it was so good talking to Andy the other night, and how much his attitude has changed. I mean, the European and professional setup, he's very aware of how his body works. He takes care of it. And as you said, I mean, he's looking after every which way he can. At that age, you can't afford to let things run. And as you said, Michael, he's looked at his Achilles tendon. It's a very dangerous injury, and he's gone about it to try and rectify it as best he can.
Looks like we're back on, boys.
Well, that's a sporting gesture, if you like, from the Solomons. They could have insisted on a delay. They could have insisted on any number of different options, but to their credit, they want to continue the game, the Solomons, as do the Australians quite naturally. They are leading 5-0, the Socceroos. And the referee prepared to get the game back underway. So 6 minutes will have to be added on as the game continues. Well, that's good to see.
It certainly is. I mean, the game, it is a sport, and the game is a gesture, and it's good to see both teams wanting to keep the game going. The announcement by the stadium was that there would be approximately a 15-minute time. That's the time that's needed to reheat and get the lights started. But in that time, as you can see, a lot of play, a lot of time to hang around. And the Solomon Islanders, I don't think they really want to hang around that long.
Slater battling away with Wabo there. Certainly Robbie Slater not slowing down. Terry Venables there with an anxious glance from the bench. So it's just one bank of lights at the southern end which have failed. But the officials decided the light is good enough.
In all fairness, Mike, I've just gone on about Graham Arnold and Robbie Slater perhaps struggling a little bit if they have to restart. Robbie Slater showed a fantastic turn of pace out the sideline, so I might have to eat my words.
Murray now looking to get in behind the Solomons defence. He's won the corner, Damien Murray. So another opportunity for the Socceroos. Slater will take the corner. Will he go short again to Lazaridis? Yes, he will. Still, the Solomons haven't wised up to it. Enish. Tapai. It's been forced wide now to Arnold. Again, the cross comes in from Arnold. Away there by the Solomons defence. Offside against Slater. Free kick to the Solomons.
There you can see exactly, Michael, how much of the lights are on. The picture you see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, is a great representation of modern technology looking through our commentary position. It is very, very dark, and especially towards the corners. Each corner is very, very dark. So the players really taking, I would say, a calculated risk at this stage because it is still quite dark on the park.
Slater. Here is Stan Lazaridis. Down he goes. A challenge from Booger. And away comes the captain, Pally. Solomon striding forward. Still going against the keeper, against the keeper. Petkovic has lost the ball. It'll be in the net. And the goal will stand. So there's wild celebrations on the Solomons bench. They have pierced the Australian net. The scorer was Noel Berry. And that is a World Cup victory in itself for the Solomons. Jason Petkovic was left all alone. The run was made by Pally. The Socceroo defence backpedalled. And the clearance from Vidmar in towards Pally. And in there as well was Berry. In fact, it was Pally who put the ball in the net. So the Solomons worthy of a goal, perhaps.
Yeah, Pally keeps his head very well here. Takes the player on. A little bit of fortune here, but again, keeps his head up. Keeps his foot into the play. Jason Petkovic comes out, spreads himself, and then the player coming over, I think Jason Petkovic really didn't know what was happening there. And as we saw, the ball falling perfectly to Pally, who was able to slot it into the net.
Yes, well, Jason Petkovic left rather exposed here. And did he have control of the ball? He had a glance at the referee. But Augustine Pally, the captain of the Solomons, look at the delight on his face there. And a courageous effort from the Solomons. No one will begrudge them that goal. Although I'm sure Mark Bosnich, Jason Petkovic probably will.
Yeah, he was left a little bit stranded there. It was 2 against 1. He was unfortunate with the challenge as well that it bounced nicely for the Solomon Islands player. But I just want to say it's unbelievably dark down here. And I've just seen a picture on the television. That's a tribute to the technical team. And David and Les, well done.
Yeah, certainly the cameras do a wonderful job of lifting the image there. It is dark down at pitch side, as Mark Bosnich has said. Skoko with the cross. Arnold jumping against the keeper. And it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, apparently the level has dropped. There usually is 4 levels of lighting here at Parramatta Stadium, depending on what TV requirements or if there are any at all. And apparently it's dropped down to its lowest level. It's the first level of lighting. So it is quite a good job. But at the same time, it is a credit to both sides to really continue on with this game.
Well, Effie seems to have a problem with the right hand there. And the finger, is it dislocated? He did go up for this challenge as the ball came in from Skoko. Arnold in the air. And Effie there with his hands outstretched. Not sure what caused the injury, but he does have a problem.
Looks as though it's something to do with his hand, something to do with his finger, Mike. Graham Arnold is a formidable figure in the air, and it's a likelihood that he's bent back a finger. It looks like it's going to be a substitution.
Actually, we saw from when he took off his glove, it was perfectly poised on that one. You could see that second last finger there was definitely off to the side. It looks like it's been very quickly put back in, but obviously it was bent to one side. I think it was more a dislocation. And it seems to have been put back in there now, because that definitely wasn't looking like that when he first took off his glove.
So, bad news by Effie. He gets a warm round of applause from the crowd. And one of the fingers on his right hand, in fact, dislocated as he went for the ball. So he'll be replaced by Peter Maltoa. Maltoa was the goalkeeper for the Solomons Olympic team in Adelaide last year. Being promoted to the senior side, as have a number of these Solomons players from the under-23s. So Maltoa with a taste of the action. Effie, a crowd favourite, goes off.
He's had a great tournament, hasn't he, Michael? He's made a great impression in here, and he's even got his own little fan club over in that far corner.
And there he is, Severino Effie, going up the tunnel for some further treatment. Well, there is 21 minutes left, barring stoppages. We will have at least another 6 minutes added on because of the delay while the officials decided whether to continue. The lights still not back to their full power. And the Solomons certainly will be glad they went back on. They pierced the Australian net. The scorer, the captain, Augustine Pelly. So a victory in itself for the Solomons. I'm sure there was a belief among the Australian players that they would finish the tournament without conceding a goal. Skoko now. Here's Enish. Ernie Tapai, in the meantime, has taken a knock, trying to walk it off.
I think he's going to come off, Mike. They've called for the substitute already.
Lazaridis against Bugger. Here's Robert Senni. And sliding in there was Tobin.
Looks like it's Aurelio Vidmar to come on for Ernie Tapai.
There he is, Ernie Tapai, who's scored twice already this evening. Now unlikely to get the chance at a hat-trick. He's still limping.
Yeah, I think, Michael, that last attacking foray down this right-hand side by the Solomons was thwarted by Ernie Tapai, but in so doing, he had a twist, and he's either done his hammy or his knee.
Skoko with the cross. Slater with the acrobatic volley, not too far away. What a superb effort that was from Robbie Slater. And Skoko's early ball in. Look at the way Slater stretched for this ball, just dipping over the crossbar.
Yeah, as Mark Bosnich was saying, Robbie Slater was originally a goal scorer, scored plenty of goals in Australian club football, and as we see there, quite acrobatic, quite athletic in his prowess, and a good side-on volley just over the crossbar.
Here comes Robert Senni. Good skills past Tobin, still going Senni. Faced by Ivanovic. Batram Suri, and it's in the net. The Solomons have scored again. The Australian defence all at sea, and Terry Venables may have had a laugh about the first goal, but he's not smiling now. You have to say that was ordinary defending by the Australians.
Certainly was, Michael, and it started, but to give credit here, he takes Alex Tobin on very well, keeps his head, Tobin exposed there, and then he comes in, he keeps his head again, he takes the player and lays for the 1-2, but cool, calm turn there by Batram Suri, and slots that at the far post. A very good goal in the build-up from the Solomon Islanders. Poor defence from Australia, but at the same time, give credit here, Michael, they've played very well here, they're mobile, they're 3-on-2 at this stage, and one of those players is Ernie Tapai, who, as we said, Vidmar, Tapai there, as we see, just coming back in, was exposed, but a good slot at that far post. Well,
the Solomons have certainly distinguished themselves. The Australians coasting at 5-0 when the lights went out, but the Solomons, since the restart, have really lifted a gear, as we can see the lights starting to regain some of their power. All of a sudden, the Solomons making something of a game of it. And Terry Venables, I can assure you, is not too happy on that Australian bench. A double change now for the Socceroos.
2 and 10 to come off. That's Ernie Tapai and Josip Skoko. And Aurelio Vidmar and Kevin Muscat to replace them, boys.
Thank you very much, Mark Bosnich. There is Ernie Tapai with a limp. Let's hope it's nothing serious. Perhaps a cork for Tapai. He'll be replaced by Muscat, I'm sure, on this right side of the park. Vidmar will go in for Skoko. Straight swap as well into the centre.
It's a left hamstring for Ernie Tapai, boys.
Oh, that's disappointing news. Tapai really has been the star of the evening for the Socceroos.
Certainly has, and as we're iterating, Michael, is one of in his form time, but at the same time, quite interestingly, Mark, you were talking about Robbie Slater and Graham Arnold, but it would seem that maybe Ernie Tapai was one to bear a little bit of the problem for that stoppage and cool down a little bit, because the hamstring is one that's very susceptible at that time.
Yeah, very much so, Bertie, and I think the Australian team in general will be a little bit upset about the stoppage, because Solomon Islands has come back and scored 2 goals. There's a replacement here for the Solomon Islands as well, number 11 to come off and number 10.
So Batram Suri, the veteran for the Solomons, will make way for Moses Tawata, who came off the bench and scored against Tahiti last weekend. This really has been a result to restore some confidence in this Solomon side. Slater, good back heel. Lazaridis is deep. Arnold jumping well and fractionally wide from Arnold. He had the right idea there, Graham Arnold. He jumped ever so well. The header beat the keeper, but unfortunately for the Socceroos, just wide of that upright.
Yeah, this is Graham Arnold's strength. He climbs so well. He directs the header, unfortunately, just past that far post, and it had gone too far for Robbie Slater, out over the byline.
There is Moses Tawata, who scored the 4th goal for the Solomons at the weekend when they defeated Tahiti 4-1. A surprising result to many, but they have shown tonight that it was no fluke, as a mistake has been made, though, from the goal kick. Maury looking for the back heel. Enish, and the pass by Enish towards Aurelio Vidmar, easily picked out there by Kaeria.
I think the Australians have been stung by them 2 goals, and they're looking to exact a little bit of revenge.
Robbie Slater certainly trying to inspire his teammates. Vidmar looking over the top for Arnold. There's Slater again, who just gets through a mountain of work. This time, though, Pelly barred the way for the Solomons. Augustine Pelly, the captain, who got the Solomons off the mark tonight. And Robert Senni there nutmegging Lazaridis, much to the delight of the crowd. Maury trying to get past Booger. Still going, Damien Maury. Wabo. Was he checked by Enish? The referee had a good look and decided against it. Here he goes again, Wabo. Pelly. Well read, though, by Muscat. Trying to find Graham Arnold. Rukumana cleans up well for the Solomons. Here's Booger. Chases on for Tawata, but the ball will beat him over the sideline. There is Batram Suri. Probably the key player for the Solomons going into the World Cup qualifiers, but he has been overshadowed somewhat by the likes of Pelly and Senni. Good break fashioned by Aurelio Vidmar. Damien Maury could have gone down there, perhaps.
Quite amazingly, Michael, the offside flag was up for about 20 seconds. The referee didn't notice.
Yeah, I don't think that goal would have stood. Damien Maury received the ball in an offside position, and the linesman, as you said, Mark, had his flag up there for a long period of time. I think if the ball hit the back of the net, he would have still had it up.
Free kick here for the Socceroos. Muscat checked by Berry, according to the referee. It's been taken quickly. Here's Enish. Enish against Berry. Still going, Robbie Enish. Eventually the ball breaks for Rukumana. Here he is again, the big centre half, Eddie Rukumana. Ivanovic cleans up well. 20 minutes remaining there is the situation. 5-2 to the Socceroos. The Solomons defying the critics, defying the odds perhaps, coming back with 2 goals. Since the restart, the game held up for 6 minutes after a failure by the floodlights.
We should note, Michael, that the intensity of the light has virtually gone back to its 4th level. It's full intensity now, and the players on the park have got total visibility back.
Seni. And he looked to be checked, Robert Seni. Referee again letting the game flow. Slater has Muscat wide on the right. No one there, though, for Australia. Up the channel is Arnold. Needs more support, though, Muscat. Here's Tony Vidmar.
Terry Venables just asking Robbie Slater if he was okay, and he replied in the affirmative.
Yes, Robbie Slater won't want to go off if he can help it. There's Lazaridis, strides down that left. Good cross. Arnold jumps and cleared off the line by Rukamana, although was it over? The goal may count, and the referee consults with his assistant. Graham Arnold is of the mind that it crossed the line. He's conferring with his assistant, Brian Precious.
Or I think it might be handball. It's either a goal or it's a handball decision. It'll be a penalty. And the player might well go off if that's the case.
Yeah, it was a very difficult, I mean, a great header by Arnold, and it's gone through the keeper.
It's a penalty. It's a penalty for Australia. And the referee is calling out a Solomons player. It's Pelly, the captain, is it? As the ball was cleared by the arm there of Pelly. You can see the armband. In fact, it wasn't Pelly. Pelly's there for the cross, so...
I think it's Rukamana.
Is it Rukamana? Arnold's ball was going in.
Well, he's got to be very unfortunate there. If it did hit his hand, he's been given the red card, which would be his 2nd yellow if it was, but it was a red card. But as we saw from that replay, he's actually hit it with his head onto his hand. Let's have a look here. Arnold's got a great header on, no doubt about this one. Good recovery by Rukamana to cover his keeper, and as we see it come through here, he's jumped up, he's watched the ball all the way. Geez, well, that's a very
hard decision, that one, on Eddie Rukamana, who we should point out has been cautioned, so it's a 2nd card for the defender, but he's got every right to feel hard done by. He went for the head. He's indicating to his coach, Eddie Nava, there exactly what happened. But referee Brian Precious did confer at length with his assistant.
Another substitution, boys. Robbie Ennis to come off and Chris Trojanowski to come on.
So Trojanowski on, the 3rd change made by Terry Venables. The ball's on the spot, though. It's Vidmar against Moltoa.
I wish I was out there.
Yes, Mark Bosic, of course, scored against the Solomons last week from the spot. Will Vidmar do likewise? He strokes it into the bottom right-hand corner. So Aurelio Vidmar keeps his cool. Australia extend their lead from the spot, somewhat fortunately perhaps, although you could argue that Graham Arnold perhaps should have scored if Rukamana hadn't intervened. The penalty decision has been given. The keeper guessed the right way, but the ball nestling into that bottom right-hand corner of the net. 6-2 now to the Socceroos.
Yeah, very coolly placed penalty there. They're always crucial. There's no easy penalty, and as you saw there, it had to be very accurate. The keeper judging the ball going the right direction.
We've just had Robbie Hooker, who was behind the goal warming up during the incident, and he has also reiterated he thought that the ball definitely hit the boy's head. So well called, boys.
Lazaridis keeping the ball in play. No, he didn't, said the referee. Yeah, it's a very tough call there on Eddie Rukamana. Perhaps another issue was the ball over the line when he made the interception. Graham Arnold certainly felt it was.
Yeah, all academic now, Michael. I mean, ultimately, I thought great recovery by Rukamana, and especially as you saw him come across from that replay from behind, directly behind Graham Arnold, you saw him, Rukamana, always watch the ball. He was right on Johnny on the spot. It did hit his hand, but I would say it hit his head first, and as it's come off, it's rebounded off his hand. The assistant from over here, he would have been obscured. He probably only saw it as it went past the post, as it hit the through the net. So it may have seemed for him to hit the hand, but from our angle, definitely great recovery by Rukamana. He'd be very feeling very unfortunate to be off the park.
So the Solomons now
Another
down to 10 men.
substitution, Michael, sorry to interrupt you, number 14 to come on for number 7.
And here we can see that incident again. It seemed to hit the head of Rukamana first. Was it over the line? That's another issue. We can talk all night about it, of course. What matters is the decision of the official, as we see Berry there replaced by Coleman Maniadalo, ostensibly a midfielder, Maniadalo. Perhaps Eddie Nava looking now to fortify things with his side reduced to 10 men. Yes, the decision that matters was from Brian Precious. He awarded the penalty on the advice of his assistant. Aurelio Vidmar put it in the net. And the Australians, who had some anxious moments there as the Solomons scored twice in quick succession, now back with a comfortable 4-goal cushion. Here's Vidmar, Muscat. Tony Vidmar. And left there by Booger, was it? No, it must have grazed his head. And Augustine Tully asking Booger why he didn't leave it. Booger suggesting he didn't hear a call, as Eddie Nava there watches anxiously the final few moments. The score could blow out here if the Solomons aren't careful. The Socceroos with an advantage. Chris Trajanovski, the substitute, with 10 minutes or so to make an impact. Here's Slater once again. The Australians have worked the corner court. Worked the corner short, I should say. Away there by Booger. Wabo now against Muscat. And Muscat tugging the shirt of Wabo.
But you've got to say, Michael, the last 15 to 20 minutes since the lights, I mean, when the lights went out, it's been quite an exciting and entertaining game. The Solomon Islanders taking the opportunity, opening up, and even as we saw, a lot of controversy, but these are the things that have made the game quite interesting, and really the Australians had to smarten themselves up, and as we've seen, they've kicked in another gear, and it really has taken the play back to the way it was prior to the lights out.
Maury trying to turn inside Kaeria, who does well to recover. So 84 minutes have been played. There will be substantial stoppages. Kelly.
Just got the information from the doc, Mike and Bertie, that fortunately looks like Ernie Tapai's hamstring strain is only a grade 1, and for the viewers at home that means that's the slightest strain that you can have, and hopefully with good treatment and rest he'll be ready in a week or two.
Yes, that's certainly good news for Tapai, who wants to be involved in those New Zealand games and is making a good claim for a starting jersey. Spread wide now by Slater. 10 minutes remaining. 6-2 the Socceroos over the Solomons. Vidmar's ball in, aiming perhaps for Arnold, straight into the grateful arms of Maltoa, the replacement goalkeeper. Well, if you sit down and analyse this game and you look at Robbie Slater's goal, an element of luck, you look at the own goal, which gave Australia their 3rd goal just before the break, you look at the rather unfortunate sending off of Rukamana, you look at an injury to their regular goalkeeper, the Solomons have done ever so well, really, against all those setbacks.
Certainly have, Michael, and it demonstrates. I mean, there's been some criticism about the World Cup qualifiers in this stage 1 in the Oceania, but as we've seen in this game here, you've just demonstrated in that case, all things equal, it should be only 3-2 with the Australians under pressure, but no, full credit to the Solomons, especially and especially in light of their first game loss of 13-0.
There is the reserve goalkeeper tonight, Zelko Kalats from Sydney United. 3 goalkeepers in the squad. Jason Petkovic between the posts this evening. Goalkeeper of the year in the Ericsson Cup.
And for Adelaide City, he got the Player of the Year on the weekend, apparently.
Well, there's some news hot off the press from Mark Bosnich. Lazaridis down that left side. Good ball in. Away there by Dardal. And another corner for the Socceroos. Or is it a throw? It's a throw. Muscat. Slater now. Bending it deep towards Arnold, who jumps well, but was just knocked off his stride at the last second there by Booger. Graham Arnold.
Mike, we've had a go, well, not had a go, we've had a little bit of fun with the two eldest players, Robbie Slater and Graham Arnold tonight, but if we're totally honest and totally fair, they both have been magnificent and two of the best players for Australia definitely tonight, and Robbie Slater's energy levels in the midfield have been awesome.
Yeah, Slater's certainly known for his stamina. He is an all-action player. He never drops a gear, Robbie Slater. He has had a great game this evening. There's no doubt about that. As the ball drops towards Arnold. Maltoa rather unconvincing. Graham Arnold, of course, will be satisfied he found the mark. That is his 18th goal for the national team. He does have his eye on the all-time record held jointly by Otia Boni and John Cosmina, 25 goals apiece. So Graham Arnold now with 7 goals to equal that record. Two great players.
I was just about to say, Michael, two of the greatest names in Australian soccer as goal scorers. John Cosmina currently coaching in the National League. Otia Boni, a magnificent player in the pre-NSL days. And Graham Arnold, to have his name mentioned in that same group is quite an honour, and I dare say he would be looking at that as we progress into these World Cup campaign.
Whipped in there by Slater. A variation this time. Lazaridis drawing a great save out of Maltoa.
That's the save of the tournament thus far.
Aurelio Vidmar. Still going, Aurelio Vidmar. Muscat goes for the overlap. Trajanovski. Slater. Arnold with the chip over the top. Maury. And the flag stayed down. Another good save by Maltoa. Two in the space of a minute. Denying the Socceroos. Away comes Pally. This time the ball, though, picked out by Tony Vidmar. And the Socceroos get the opportunity to regroup as we now go into stoppages at the end of this Group 1 qualifier between the Solomons and Australia.
I'd just like to say from down here, all fairness to the Solomons, they've kept coming and coming and coming, and they've got their just desserts tonight because they've shown tremendous courage, and it all goes well for the future of Oceania.
Muscat there winning the corner for the Socceroos. Yes, a lot of speculation about the viability or otherwise of the Oceania Confederation. Certainly Soccer Australia chairman David Hill has his views well known. He doesn't believe it provides Australia with worthwhile competition, but the Solomons tonight have perhaps proved otherwise. They really have had a good effort, and the deflection by Maury there as the shot came in from Lazaridis. Maltoa has pulled off 3 important saves there.
Super save.
In quick succession. And it was Lazaridis who is in fact looking for his first goal for Australia. Maury ducking, may have deflected the ball. Maltoa alert. Under pressure there from Arnold. Yes, Robbie Slater getting off the mark tonight in his 21st appearance for the national team. Stan Lazaridis, 17 games yet to score, has come close with a couple of good long-range efforts.
And both of them pulling off great saves by Maltoa. And as we saw there, he readjusted to that deflection off his captain Pelly's arm. Wasn't in fact Maury, but he's demonstrated. I mean, we've seen this is the second goalkeeper that has been subbed, and both, when they've come on, have performed exceptionally well.
Slater still working hard in the middle for the Socceroos. Arnold with a shot on the turn. He had to take it quickly, and it was always rising past the post. Well, I wonder what Terry Venables is thinking. Perhaps a little bit disappointed with the way the Socceroos conceded those 2 goals. But in the context of the 3 games that Australia have played over the past week, this performance from the Solomons tonight was undoubtedly the best from their opponents. Tahiti really just put men behind the ball on Friday night, Australia winning that game 5-0, but the Solomons not only absorbed the pressure, they've come at Australia to make more of a game of it.
Yeah, and I guess we should have taken a little bit more note of the game against the Solomon and Tahitian on the weekend. A good victory by the Solomons, and obviously good preparation for this game.
Muscat. Inside is Vidmar. Slater. Alex Tobin venturing forward for perhaps the first time. Here's Lazaridis. Maury. Maury still going. Maury, the layup for Slater. Pele had the foot in there. Slater does well to recover. Vidmar working well with Muscat. But the cross was a disappointing one from Tony Vidmar. Cleared into touch there by Solomons. 3 minutes now added on by referee Brian Precious as Australia look for goal number 7. Lazaridis with the cross over the head of Maury, and Trajanovski was backpedaling there as he made the contact. Oh, Chris Trajanovski, perhaps a fringe player in this World Cup squad, but his international career really did start off with a bang. 7 goals in just 2 games against Tahiti last year, the final of the Oceania Nations Cup final. And by virtue of that victory, the Socceroos will play in the Confederation Cup in Saudi Arabia at the end of this year. That is a mini World Cup in every respect. So Trajanovski's goal certainly very timely indeed. Yes, the champions of the various confederations will be pulled together for that tournament in Riyadh. The likes of Brazil, the World Cup holders, Czech Republic, the runners-up in Europe, South Africa, the champions of Africa, Uruguay, the champions of South America. It is a quality tournament indeed. And if we do make the World Cup, that will be perfect preparation.
Certainly will. Michael, following on at the 3rd stage of the qualification for Australia will be again in November, and then that cup getting played in December. So, and as you said, a mini World Cup, only a brand new tournament being played in Saudi Arabia, breaking up the World Cup 4-year cycle. But here we see, as we claim here, Vidmar accelerating past, getting the touch, bundled over, referee not having any of it as a penalty, and in the end I think a reasonably fair decision, because the ball had been pushed way too far for Aurelio to really catch up with it.
A pensive Terry Venables. It is eye on the job ahead, which is to eliminate our arch rivals New Zealand from the World Cup equation. The Oceania playoffs June 28 at the Albany Stadium in Auckland, and July 5 at the Sydney Football Stadium in the return leg. Dadao. Wabo. And he was checked there by Tony Vidmar. And he goes down, he's taken a knock. Wabo. Perhaps just caught on the boot there by Vidmar, although he seems to be holding his midriff. Free kick to the Solomons. 6 minutes now added on by Brian Precious. 6-2 is the scoreline. Maury trying to burst forward. The green shirts there in numbers. Pele, and the foul was committed earlier by Trajanowski. Trajanowski has signed a 2-year deal with Adelaide City, deciding to leave Sydney Olympic, although still has hopes of getting a contract overseas. A number of trials lined up in Holland before the start of the next European season. Pally.
So it has been an incredible performance by the Solomon Islanders tonight, Michael. But again, very important for the Australian public. It's a situation where they need to be able to perform under different varying factors, and this is one of them. The opposition are below them.
Oh, great run again by Lazaridis. He just ran out of an angle in the end.
Yeah, as I was saying, Michael, it's important for the Australians to be able to focus at any circumstances. And here we see, these are the things that great to see. Stan Lazaridis getting to the byline, and it needs to be done with monotonous repetition, so there is a progression, as we've seen throughout the game, throughout this tournament. But it's important that the Australians take every game as it is, as a progression, a development, as developing cohesion and understanding for the latter games, hopefully to eliminate New Zealand in the Oceania qualification stage, and then progress to beat the Asians to go to France in 1998.
Still the Australians press forward, Muscat jumping. Referee's had another look at his watch. 10 minutes now added by Brian Precious. They've given a good account of themselves tonight, the Solomons. Trajanowski. Julio Vidmar. Wabo. Here's Robert Senni.
Here they come again. No, not this time.
Rather optimistic attempt there by Senni, who does have some lovely close skills, as do a number of these Solomons players. Certainly some good raw material to work with. A number of these Solomons players in their early 20s, and they'll learn from the experience, as will the Australian players. In fact, well, there was a 13-0 victory the last time these two teams met just 6 days ago. No chance of a repetition this evening. Australia emerged victorious, but perhaps the real winners, the Solomons, with a courageous effort under all sorts of difficult circumstances. The Socceroos leading 3-0 at the break, goals from Arnold, Slater, and an own goal to the Solomons defender, Kaeria. The Socceroos extended that lead with 2 quick goals by Ernie Tapai after the interval, but we had that delay when the lights went out. The Solomons returned after the short break, much the more committed of the two sides, and against the run of play, 2 goals by Pally and Berry made life difficult. The Australians capping the night with a goal from the spot by Aurelio Vidmar towards the end. But the final score here at the Parramatta Stadium, Australia 6, the Solomons 2. We'll now cross to Robert Wheatley and Bertie Mariani.
Michael Cockrell, 5 goals in that second half, and 2 to the Solomon Islanders, more than they got on the weekend against Tahiti, and a fabulous second half performance by them. And to chat about the match and everything that happened, Bertie Mariani, I think it really was a case that they lifted their game, the lights went out, and they came back a much better side.
They certainly did. What an amazing second half. As you said, as Michael also said in the commentary, I mean, if you look at what actually happened, the Solomons' amazing performance there, the luck of the own goal, the sending off, the Rukamana incident, some amazing circumstances, but in the end, an entertaining second half, and they really, the Solomons, to their credit, once the lights went down, they really came back.
Well, there is so much controversy and chat in the media section, Bertie, about that particular sending off offence, and it was a situation, though, where earlier before that, the Solomons really came out and attacked the Australians, took them on.
They certainly did. I mean, a little bit of fortune there, but in the game of football, fortune plays that 1% part. We see here Petkovic really exposed, coming out probably in the goalkeeping fraternity. If you're able to come out and get hold of it, then you should hold it, despite being impeded by the other player. And ultimately, the goal for the Solomons, and didn't they celebrate?
Oh, certainly it's justified celebrations as well. But you commented also on the lead-up play of the Solomon Islanders. They just came right through our defence, nutmegged Alex Tobin and took them right to the end.
Yeah, I mean, from anything you can, from that play, very noticeable, sorry, that the Solomon Islands have that technique, are able to take on the players, as we saw. Took on Alex Tobin down that flank, came in, had Milan Ivanovic, turned him, and then all of a sudden found themselves with the opportunity of striking on goal.
And certainly for the Solomon Islands, it didn't stop there, but that was the initial episode of the move, but then they continued.
Yeah, and we see he plays the ball off, does well, sends the dummy around here, and gets the slot really under pressure here. Immense pressure and a beautiful slot at the far post.
All right, what lessons would Terry Venables take out of this match?
Well, as any coach would, you would be looking at how he could eliminate the errors. It was a case where a couple of times we were exposed, and I think it was more a lack of focus and concentration.
All right, to get the perspective from the Australian camp, Michael Cockerell's on the sideline with assistant national coach Raul Blanco.
Thank you very much, Robert Wheatley. Well, Raul, the lessons that we've learned from that game tonight.
Well, the lessons are that I think, especially in the first half, we play in a hurry, and I think the final pass in the last 30 meters left a lot to be desired, not only from the middle of the park, but wide balls too, a lot of bad balls. But all in all, as I said, important victory. We won, and we won well. And it shows you again that if you slip a little bit, somebody will punish you.
Do you think the delay with the lights upset our rhythm? The Solomons did score their 2 goals after the restart.
Didn't upset them. They benefit from it. I think that maybe we slow down a little bit, and it's a good lesson. I think it's a fantastic lesson. As I said again, I mean, this is an important thing. It's an important qualifying game, and they show you that any opponents could come and punish you if you don't get the mind on the job.
And just quickly, you've done a bit of coaching in the Oceania region. I mean, there has been conjecture about the worth of these games. I think perhaps the Solomons showed tonight that it should be persevered with, football in the Oceania region.
Very much. They deserve the chance. I think we should not get too big for our own shoes. I think that this is the region we live, and I think we should give them a fair chance. And I think, for what I know, in the last 20 years, they came a long way, and if they keep improving as they are, I think eventually they will give us a fright.
Thanks very much, Raul Blanco.
Pleasure.
Back to you, Robbie.
All right. Thanks very much, Michael Cockerell, with assistant national coach Raul Blanco's pretty sobering message there from Raul Blanco. But some players really did perform, others really didn't get their 100% effort out of them.
No, and they're the factors that Terry Venables will be looking at under all different circumstances and factors, is how a coach will assess players. And a lot of the players out there probably would be a little bit wary of their position, and Terry Venables will be a little bit the better of their ability to perform in various conditions.
Well, Raul Blanco leaves straight after this match early tomorrow to get that New Zealand-Fiji game, but I think he'll keep his cards pretty close to his chest. Bertie, any other clear signs of the Australian lineup for that New Zealand encounter?
Well, it's a hard one. I mean, as we've seen throughout the phases, I think on the flanks we can expect to see Lazaridis and Slater, with Ernie Tapai, as Mike said, really pushing a very strong claim. And I think they're the crucial factors. Up front, it really depends on the day. I think Arnold has done enough, and Murray in that first game. But ultimately, Ned Zelic sitting in the middle of the park will also be a decision. All
right, and up front, still some decisions really to be made around that centre-forward figure.
Certainly, it's going to be difficult to work out who it's going to be, but I'd say everybody has performed quite well and justified in their selection.
All right, thanks very much, Bertie Mariani tonight, and Michael Cockerell, our match commentator. Do hope you've enjoyed everything. See you again Thursday night for Australia against Tahiti. Until then, good night.